next is a forward-looking session that explores one of the most exciting developments in global logistics, integrating skies and seas, unlocking the next decade of global trade. With supply chains recollaborating and cross-border trade rebalancing, the integration of air and ocean logistics is emerging as a strategic differentiator. This panel brings together top leaders from aviation, shipping, ports, and manufacturing to discuss how companies across the globe can leverage multimodal corridors to strengthen resilience and global reach. First, I would like to invite on stage our absolutely wonderful moderator for this panel discussion, Mr. Shantanu Bhadkamkar, President, Association of Multimodal Transport Operators of India. A respected visionary in the logistics sector, he has led transformative initiatives across global supply chains with decades of experience and a long-standing commitment to industry advancement. He continues to shape the evolution of logistics in India and internationally. Guys, I think after the lunch we have some more energy. Can we have a big round of applause for him? Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Ramesh Mamidala, Head Cargo Air India, a seasoned aviation cargo executive with over 30 years in global air freight logistics. He has held senior roles at leading airlines and ground handling firms, including Emirates Sky Cargo, Qatar Airways, Celebi, and Adani Airports. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Vivek Kele, Director, Teamglobal Logistics. With over 30 years of experience in freight forwarding, cargo consolidation, and international logistics, Mr. Kele co-founded Teamglobal Logistics in 2005. He has led its growth into a premium global freight and logistics provider. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Aldrick D'Souza, Head of Operations, WFC Bengaluru. He oversees strategic operational management, ensuring seamless execution of warehousing and logistics functions. He brings robust operational leadership and supply chain expertise to drive organizational efficiency and growth. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Vijay Shetty, Senior Vice President and Global Head of Distribution and Supply Chain, Alkem Laboratories. With extensive experience in pharmaceutical logistics, he oversees end-to-end distribution, cold chain compliance, and supply chain optimization to ensure timely delivery across markets. Welcome, Mr. Shetty. And it's absolutely wonderful because the next panelists, you guys are lucky, you'll have a lady on the panel today. I would like to invite on stage Ms. Priyanka Shivan, Head of Supply Chain, South Asia, Clariant IGL, Speciality Chemicals. She oversees procurement, logistics, and distribution across South Asia. Her leadership ensures robust supply chain resilience and regulatory compliance, critical for managing specialty chemicals and servicing diverse international markets. Welcome, Ms. Shivan. Over to you, sir. Have a wonderful panel discussion.
So, good afternoon. I think it's working. Please raise your hand if you have heard me. Good, thank you. We have a wonderful session ahead, and I promise that you will keep your mobile aside if you are paying attention. And if you are going to stay on mobile, you are missing something critical. We have a wonderful panelist, and we are going to talk on an issue which was spoken about 30 years back, but of late you wouldn't have heard too much of you, is air and sea combination, optimizing supply chains. It's air-sea or sea-air. In India, it is more of sea-air than air-sea. And we are going to wear our traditional hat of our role we play in the logistics or supply chain. But we are going to expand beyond that and see how cooperatively we can create an optimal solution so that we are relevant and our partners or our customers, which is the supply chain community or the exporter or importer, stays relevant. I think we will have a simple format. We will have opening remarks and then we can have pointed questions. And in the meanwhile, I request you to write your questions and keep them ready, because as they strike their mind, maybe during course of discussion you will forget. So please keep your questions ready. This panel will be very brief and we will give adequate time for you to respond, to ask questions or make a quick point. We will speak for 3 minutes each if you agree, and I will keep timer for your help, so pay attention to me. And first we will start with opening remarks before we start with the questions or more precise areas, and we'll start with logistics with your permission so that you have adequate input on what you should react on as customers, as users of these services. We are providers of the service. So Ramesh, no, she is a supply chain manager, so they would respond.
So we start with the providers.
Whatever. I can start,
okay.
that's no problem.
Good.
Okay. Let's go with the ladies first. They invited the lady the last, but let's start with
Go
the
ahead,
ladies first. Okay. So yeah, just to set the tone for this, when we are talking of multimodals and integrating the oceans and the air, I think it's no longer ocean versus air. Like we used to talk of ocean for, I would say, scalability and air for speed. But I think we are in that stage of supply chain, of businesses across the world, expanding volumes, increasing consumerism, shooting through the roof. So I think we are at a stage where they both have to be linked and work in tandem to provide the best user experience. Just to put it shortly, we've talking of, obviously not directly related to it, we are talking of 10-minute and 15-minute deliveries and everything. So it no longer becomes one versus the against. I think it's high time that we have the kind of infrastructure, we have the kind of reliability, credibility to stitch both together. So it's no longer ocean or air, it's going to be ocean and air both to give the right consumer experience.
Thank you. It was very quick opening remark. Thanks. And that sets the standard for everyone. Thank you. Vijay.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, the topic is very close to my heart as well, because the organization has given this as a target. Okay, for supply chain heads like me, we have one target definitely on the cost part, but the other target is to make sure how we can reduce our inventory levels, how we can build efficiencies, how we can have lead time which are shorter, and we are able to serve unmet demands of our customers ASAP moment the order is received. So we keep on exploring various ways of transporting to our customers, whether it is in the domestic market or in the international market. Now with the post-pandemic, supply chain delivery to our customers have become very crucial. One easy way of doing is to make sure I can have 90 days of stocks at my international locations and make sure I will serve my customers. But indirectly what I'm doing is like I'm investing a lot of funds into my inventory, basis which there is no efficiency at all. And that's where how we can reduce lead time by making sure there is a mode of shipments which combines both air and sea. We exploded during the time where there was capacity crunch. We also did a use of it during the time of COVID, and we are consistently exploring new ways of shortening the lead times. So that's where we are from a supply chain perspective. This is what we are going to speak more about. Thank you.
Well, thanks. I think you are laying the foundation for us to respond on, and I am happy you have been a user of such services. So Aldrick, as a custodian, how do you see at it?
All right. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. From a logistics perspective, let me move beyond just the custodianship. Through my short career, a decade in the Middle East and then more than a decade in India, there's a lot that we have to do in India in terms of reaching a mature multimodal transportation system. Having spent my earlier years in the Middle East, working with the airline, a forwarder, and a manufacturer, way back in the early 2000s itself, the whole concept of multimodal transportation, the tone was set. New concepts were brought in for a lot of us who came in from the 90s to the 2000s, and it did function well. A lot of companies made robust headway in reducing supply chain costs. The government itself put in a lot of initiative to bring unified systems. So keeping on those lines, there's a lot that we could actually discuss and see what we could do for India, for our logistics framework that we have here, because we're at the right time. There's a lot of geopolitical ruffling in the market, and India is positioned in a very strategic point of view as of today, be it manufacturing, distribution, and supply chain, to take things further. We just need to bring it all together.
Thanks, Aldrick. We'll be coming to specific questions to you for custodian. In the meanwhile, Vivek, your opening remarks.
Yeah, good afternoon. Check, check. Check. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I think some interesting comments and remarks from the service user and service provider. So a couple of things I would like to highlight. I think India is one of the few countries which has a Multimodal Transport Act, which facilitates movement of goods by using multimodal transport. I think that's one thing I would like to state to begin with. Two is that world is changing fast, and there are multiple conflicts as we speak are happening globally. So that is making is having huge opportunities for logistics service providers like us to ensure that the goods reach from point A to point B on time. Because today is Red Sea, tomorrow it can be Panama Canal, it can be some other place where the supply chain disruption can happen. So that's where the logistician's role come in, and using different modes of transport, one can fix that gap. Third, I think our lady on the panel spoke about quick commerce, so 10-15 minute delivery. So with the quick commerce, setting the tone for the consumer's expectation in terms of delivery time frames, same standards or expectations are being extrapolated onto the B2B movement also, to a certain extent. And it is, but of course that comes at a cost. And it is a challenge for service providers like us as to how we meet these expectations. And when you are paired with a quick commerce, and when you are offering a multimodal transport, which is a much deferred solution than a quick commerce. So how do you set those expectations right? So I think these are some of the challenges and expectations that we are going to see in future. Yeah, over to you, Mr.
Ramesh, you have already picked up the mic,
yes,
so go ahead.
Because you had invited me earlier. So thank you, good afternoon. Let me, in the first place, thank IACS organizers to have invited Air India to be participating actively and also inviting me onto this panel as Air India representative. It is good to be back. I think they have put up a great show again like they did last year. It's even bigger than last year. So it's a great opportunity to be here representing Air India on this panel. I think my thoughts on that, as some of the speakers earlier said, no mode of transportation on its own cannot exist to meet the needs of the supply chain globally. That can't happen. So talking of air cargo, we are one of the middle miles that people use us. And especially from the multimodal point of view, as the multimodal related policies evolve favorably for the industry, and as the industry evolves, I see greater opportunities for air cargo. I'll give you a couple of examples. One example that I have personally seen in my life a couple of years ago, 20 years ago actually, not a couple of years ago. So when we with one of the airlines that I was working with in the Middle East, back in 2007-8 is when we actively developed Sea Air as a product for one of the airlines based in the Middle East, which was kind of non-existing, or it was very, very small. So when we developed that sea air seamless transfer of containers from the seaport into the airport, breakdown, screen and build units, and then the units actually go to the aircraft directly, was a great product, right? And eventually, a year, 2 years down the line, that product became so prominent that it started contributing 18% of the volumes that the airline had as exports out of that station. And that's growing even further. I think maybe that would have become 25, 30% today. So that is how important it is. The other thing, when we were actually trying to actively sell this product globally, we came across very interesting business cases to use it. Take one high-value electronics company. When they launch a new product, they would like the product to reach the market very quickly. So invariably, they use air cargo as the middle mile because they want to reach the market very quickly so that they can monetize the opportunity they have ahead of them. But as the same product, newer products come later, but as the product becomes older, the product moves from phase 1, which is the launch phase or launch stage, to the second stage, they will start using possibly air plus ocean or air plus surface, because product doesn't have to reach the market very quickly, but the product has to be available if somebody wants to buy. As the product becomes even older, right, let's say stage 3, they don't have to use air cargo because air cargo is too expensive. The product value would have come down, their margin would have come down, so they don't want the margin to be eaten by the cost of air transportation. So they will possibly end up using either surface completely or ocean completely, right? So it also largely depends on which product they're selling, what is the value of the product, but very importantly, the stage at which the life cycle of the product is, right? So, but if you look at it, regardless of these examples, air cargo is one of the modes that people use. And I'm happy that even in India, the sea air is something that is taking off. Other mix of modes of transportation are also evolving, leading to growth of the whole industry. But very importantly, from my point of view, it will lead to growth of air cargo across the country.
Thanks, Ramesh. Priscilla, I'm putting 2 questions together to both of you. You can take either of them or both of them together. One is, once there is a modal change, it requires much better planning. And when you want guaranteed deliveries, we would also like to have guaranteed planning. Because if you plan in advance, we can book in advance and we can have proper 6-month or annual booking, pallet load, weekly loads, and we can have sailings agreement with the shipping lines. So I have 2 questions. One is, and particularly for sea air sea, one is whether Indian shippers are ready for predictive planning, not just for a month, but for longer period, whether they are willing to have longer contracts, and whether they are willing to share your platform so that we can see a shared terminal, not access to your data, but we can share a platform so that we can have, and most Japanese companies do that incidentally. And the next question is, obviously the packing for air and ocean will be different. So are we ready with packing that is suitable both for air and ocean, and the optimized method to go ahead, whether we can develop standards that are compatible for both, and whether the data exchange or data governance expectations you have can we collaboratively develop? These are many questions, long questions, but you can pick and choose. Go ahead.
That's a lot of questions. Actually, I can answer most of them. It's just that if I remember. So I think the first one was about the predictive planning, so that obviously the spots can be booked and everything. Just on a lighter note, we spend a lot of money to have an air shipment because we don't do planning, right? Because if we would have done planning and if we knew, we would just ship it by sea. The idea of doing air is obviously, it's a last minute opportunity or something. But having said that, I would say, yes, there's a lot of planning. And I think the problem never lies with booking a vessel, except obviously, as you mentioned, when there are global conflicts, there's a Red Sea, blockage or something like that. That is the time when there is a shortage of vessels. But otherwise, whenever there is an import order, for example, there is something getting ordered from outside, our production lead times, generally in our specialty chemicals with huge demands, are such that there is enough time to book spots, basically. So, our production lead time itself is anywhere between 3 to 6 months, or maybe 2 to 4 months, something like that. So that is enough time for, I would say, vessel planning. And as far as the global contracts are concerned, for us particularly, these are global contracts done at the global level by our headquarters in Switzerland. So they are generally done for a period of 3 years. So it's not, we don't do spot bookings, unless obviously when we had these conflicts, and the only thing that was working were the spot bookings. But otherwise, we have these global contracts with the global service providers, generally for a period of about 3 years. So I would say that is pretty sorted out. And I don't remember the next question.
I think there are 2-3 other things. What about you like to have visibility going forward. Can we have visibility about when your cargo is getting ready?
When a cargo is?
Getting ready.
Okay, yeah. I would say when we already booked the vessels, I think that kind of information should be enough for the service provider, because when you mention about getting an idea of when your cargo is getting ready, then I think maybe we are going to our next question, which we might discuss, is on integration with AI, having some kind of a, visibility model or something like that. Because when you talk of giving any kind of access to our systems, I think no global company would actually, especially a Swiss company, would not allow that to be given to a third party. So unless we develop models where we can feed our information into like a third party kind of a platform, okay, which can be accessed by a third party service provider, then that's a different thing. But otherwise, the vessels are booked by our teams well in advance. So I think that much of information should be enough for the service provider, basically.
And what about the development of packing, which is compatible?
Yes,
for
that is important, because for HAS, like we have IIP for our air packaging, obviously the requirement for sea. So there would be a change that would have to be introduced. But that is something, if it is involving a multimodal kind of a thing, I'm sure the packaging would be something, the precedence will be taken by the air packaging, for it to be compatible to the sea, because the sea is maybe a tad bit lower than what is required for your air actually, especially when we are talking of HAS chemicals. So yes, that integration needs to be done, because then it needs to be compatible for both of them. So when we get there, I'm sure we are using the appropriate packaging for that. The regulations will make sure that we are using that.
So Vijay, moving forward, same questions, and you can take in order, and I can remind you what is missing. Go ahead.
Sure. So at Alkem, I would say everything starts first with demand, okay? What I do is, I ask my sales and marketing team that this is the sale, last year this was a sale, what are you going to sell for the next 3 years? Okay, and I would say we hardcore more of the planning from a
Just keep this hand steady,
from a 1 year horizon specifically, to make sure that we are able to to give inputs to our suppliers, raw material supplier, packing material suppliers, and to our manufacturing unit as well, in terms of what capacities are required. Same information gets used in terms of planning our warehouse capacities as well, okay? At the same time, the information also flows to our service providers, whether it is air shipment and sea shipment as well. As a rule, air shipment will not happen, okay? But if it happens, there should be reason, and that has to be approved by me. Otherwise, why it is approved, either there was delay from the supplier, or there was extra order received from our customers, or there was material failure, batch failed, because of which we could not supply. So planning definitely goes into place in terms of making sure what we are going to sell in the next 6 to 1 year is clearly visible. Because of which we have entered into contracts with also shipping lines, okay? Not only one, but maybe 2 shipping lines. As a policy, we always have an alternate vendor developed. So 2 vendors would definitely be there who will have that visibility with share, which means that the L1 gets 70%, the L2 definitely will have 30%, even if the rates are high. Because of pandemic has taught us, you need to always have a backup, we will still go with the L2 supplier. Now, with regards to sharing inputs, that information is always shared with the shipping lines or our forwarder. Reason being because, and 1 week in advance, we clearly say that, okay, this is not going to happen, this is not going to happen as per plan, okay? If at all it has to be an air shipment, minimum 2 weeks in advance, my forwarders will come to know. saying that what are we planning? And at that particular point of time, not only for that one make, because it's a cascading effect, so the next 3 months visibility would be there for the air shipment as well. That's what we do. Anything if I've missed?
I think your service providers are uniquely lucky because most of my customers want shipments yesterday and cargo delivered day before yesterday. So if you are really planning giving such a long time, I think I will be in queue for
Few things help us, okay? So we have something called as continuous improvement in supply chain, and every time we deliver our KPIs, the KPI becomes stringent, okay? So what we also do is to not only look at, like say, if a forwarder is using MUX or a forwarder is using MSE for a particular route, how much days, how much time he has taken, because for us, more than cost, the biggest KPI or target is to make sure how do you shorten the lead time? How do you actually move the products to the customers on time? Because if I deliver my customers on time, my customer rating, particularly in the US market, we are rated by the deliveries, on-time deliveries. And if that happens, we don't also fetch good price for our product. But yeah, our sales also grow. So it has a domino, I would say, bullwhip effect on all the value chain that we have. And because of which this planning is very important. So assuming if our delivery fail, the score goes down, and then the L2 vendor gets the opportunity to actually take that business. What happens, okay? The entire world is on supply chain talking about what's went wrong. So that's why we actually plan it in a way and give visibility also. And upfront, at times if we are not able to do it, not that, okay, it will take 45 days to reach US, the 45th day itself, customers will know what is the delay and what are we doing to reduce the lead time. Either we will use air sea or we will do an air shipments to make sure still we will meet the delivery timelines at any cost.
Thanks. I think that's the reason I think the organizers have selected you to speak here. Because that sounds like too much of German and Japanese scheduling, because I see their walls are full of schedules, and twice I have been to my customer suppliers and they were very inflexible with time. So I went to the forwarders, I went to them, and we saw that their weekly sailings, weekly schedules are so rigid. They say we can't sail it earlier because there is something in lined up, we can't delay it because my factory doesn't have place to keep it, and so their forwarders have very precise schedule, and we see their plans on their walls, we see their plans on their PC, and that kind of visibility they have. If something is delayed, they are mitigating much well in advance. Like you said, 45 days you give advance. So wonderful. I think we will invite you.
But one caveat here, as I said, like the grass is always good, but we face situations. As I said, like if my batch fails, okay, it's not as per customer quality, we can't sell it, okay. If a Red Sea hit, Ukraine war hit, or like currently the Indigo crisis, what is happening, so we face issues. The only thing is we don't say that, okay, the issues are there. We have to make sure how do we provide a solution to our customers. That's
but
most
I am
important.
happy you are willing to talk that language.
Yeah.
Otherwise, most people are unwilling to have commitment or speak this language. I'm sure you will also be having obstacles. It's not so easy in India. As a country, we have some challenges which are beyond us. All the same, we will move on to our custodians.
I'd like to say something.
There is one thing custodians always tell us, come early in the morning. And we say our cargo comes in the evening. What can I do? It's not my coming. My cargo has to come. Or my custom duty has to come. If it was import, it has to come. Unless it comes, I can't come to you for delivery. But all the same, now we are talking about the modal harmony and timing, how we can improve the processes and make it capable for handling different kind of packing as is required, or whatever you feel are challenges for enabling sea air and air sea, not just as a starting point, but also as you being at the hub of modal change. Vijay. That's not Vijay, sorry. Aldrick.
Okay, so what Vijay said was actually music to my ears, because if he knows what he's going to tender to a freight forwarder 3 months in advance, I don't even know what I'm going to get in the evening. That's the actual trend in India. And I guess that's purely a mindset, a way of doing business that we do in India that puts us in such a difficult position. In a custodian setup as well, things have moved up. We have an operations excellence department. We do resource planning on a daily basis, weekly basis, fortnightly basis. We also have a continuous improvement department that looks at all our processes and looking at lean hours, peak hours, and trying to see what we could do, because none of our terminals are rubber bands. Our terminals are fixed structures. We have fixed square feet to deal with, fixed equipment to work with, and we have what is known to us is the airline and its belly capacity. However, the timings that are required from an airline are stringent, written in gold, because you can't delay an aircraft. And that's why we ask you, can you please bring the cargo in the morning? Because that will give us time to do all the procedural changes that we need to do, including security clearance in India. Coming to packaging, like if we go back recently to the Red Sea effect that basically chock-a-blocked most of our air cargo terminals in India. One of the biggest issues that we faced was de-stuffing that container that came to the airport. Why? The packaging used, the method of stacking and loading used in a container is so far different than the permissible packing that we need to do in air transport. I believe colleagues over here would have faced a huge issue, even transferring that container from the seaport into the airport because of the variable rules that we follow for each mode of transport. Now that is something that we have to actually seriously look in. Is there an inspection on sea freight? There is. But if you get into the air freight part of it, we're still an unknown shipper that's been used. So can we not find unified ways or rules or even the shipping bills that are being generated to be unified across different modes of transport that would actually reduce one portion of the total dwell time that's required to move cargo from point A to point B through air or through sea to air, whichever way it goes. So there is a need to look at infrastructure as well, because what happened in the Red Sea issue is that none of the airports really had the kind of space to cater to the growing demand for the air freight product. We had people requesting us, Aldrick, we have 6 containers, 10 containers, but where do we keep all of these containers? Where do we keep all of this cargo? Because each cargo terminal that has grown in India have basically grown from brownfield airports and now become greenfield airports, but with historical data. But we have to have a vision of creating facilities that can cater to an eventuality that will also create into a demand for either of the services, be it sea air or air sea.
Thanks. I think what point you raised is important, and this last week itself we have discussed it at Nhava Sheva in detail with Chief Commissioner and 2 commissioners, import and export, about modal change being so difficult. And in principle they are all agreeing, but they are blaming the system. Like the Chief Commissioner is there, import commissioner, export commissioner, both are there. So the problem is with the system. So we have Rama here. I think he goes to board more often than all of us put together. So we will have Rama visit board and systems directorate on this, because it's a legitimate demand. Modal shift should not be difficult. Where one customs has completed, we should have some system of escorting it. But I'm coming to your point also. Like, see, often if I ask you as a user of road that keep your offices open at night, you leave at 10 o'clock at night because roads are empty, you won't face traffic, and then come back at 7 o'clock because roads are empty. Will it be okay? See, the system has to provide for peak load. We can't say that others should plan according to my lean period. It becomes unfair. And see, I am willing to do that. But can you convince my customers to do that? So that is something I leave you thought. I'm not trying to put you in spot, but I just would like you to keep that thought with you. Like we expect from roads should be congestion free, When we use the roads, not when the roads are free, we should travel. So Vivek, you probably wear more hats than any one of us. And you are doing most of the activities as a custodian, carrier, and maybe you are have trading and manufacturing activity, which I don't know of, but
No.
you can share the perspective. Go
So,
ahead.
I would
And
like-
one speciality, we had agreed to have one speciality of each. Vivek, I know, he is a marathoner, that's how he keeps fit. Now I will like to know them share that people share their one speciality like I have shared of Vivek. Go ahead, Vivek.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm not into trading and manufacturing, and I would like to stick to my core competence, which is logistics. So I think a couple of things I would like to highlight here. Is supply chain, we spoke about visibility, demand forecasting, and as to how we can have a prior information. So I think Mr. Shetty is a dream customer for all the logistics service providers with the kind of visibility you give in terms of planning your shipments. So I think it's how an organization management gives importance to supply chain. And I always make this, highlight this point is to how many supply chain heads have a board position in the board of directors. Very few. One of the most successful companies globally is, as we know, is Apple. And when Steve Jobs, had to pass on, post his unfortunate demise, had to pass on a baton, he passed it, the baton was passed on to Tim Cook, who was a supply chain head of Apple. So that's the kind of importance, global organizations give to supply chain. And, people then subsequently become to rise and head the organization. So I think, so that importance is very important. So that, and I think everything else then falls in place. Second is about, I think one of the things that, Shantanu, you mentioned was about modal switch. So whenever we are moving from air to sea, sea to air, land, whatever. So I think modal switch is a very, contentious issue. And none of the shippers as well as logistics service providers are prepared for this modal shift. If, at the last minute, the thing has to, the board has to change. Is the packing ready? Is one of the things that, are the documents ready? Is the labeling ready? Because you're changing from a seaport to an airport, airport to a seaport. So I think these are some of the resiliences that we need to bring about in our supply chain planning. So I think this is bringing about supply chain, resilience. Third is about choices availability. Like Ms. Shetty and of course Ms. Shivan, they did mention about they want to optimize the cost. How do you optimize the cost? Like if I'm sending, tons and tons of cargo by air, do I have a better choice? So I think in terms of the air, sea and sea air options, what we are talking about convergence here. So those options are not easily available or made known because it is not a regular mode of transport. So as I think service providers, we need to ponder as to how we can, create these solutions and make them available, like a menu card off the table to be consumed. So I think that's one of the challenges, that we have to accept and make available to our service users. So that would be my couple of comments, Shantanu, from my side.
I think, Vivek, the most important issue you raised was about the mindset of management. And we can say Michael Dell has often said, we are a logistics company and I am logistics expert because Dell is known to have many suppliers and they manage their suppliers. So you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I think Dell was the first company globally in the 80s who went directly from, without using the distributor. They disintermediated the distributor. So Dell computers were not available in shops. They were available only when you order them online. And they could do that only because of ensuring that there is a proper planning, supply chain visibility, demand forecasting, and supply was planned basis the demand forecasting. So they disintermediated.
You have a role model where CEO is a expert in not just supply chain but logistics. And the brand to be reckoned with means not just average. See, we are talking specialty. I know Ramesh for long. And in a meeting, when Ramesh speaks, I have to concentrate because he speaks very fast. When I shared it with the colleagues, they said, no, he speaks too slowly. He works faster than that. So you have a person who is very fast and productive. So Ramesh, when I actually see you working, our expectations are elevated. And we would also like to have lessons from you. But now coming back to our modal shift, how air can enable all these things? Because air will be obviously the costlier and harder part of the chain. And we have to put pressure on other modes, which is ocean and custodians, and maybe customers also and forwarders, so every system. So what is your wish list from everyone, and how do we bring about that change? And I think the finest thing about ACFI, where you are vice president, is all the stakeholders in logistics are on the same platform. So I'm not trying to promote ACFI, but that gives a unique platform for enabling it. So your thoughts on it?
Thank you. Before I respond to that, we have some gentlemen, standing at the back, and you can actually come and sit in the front. We have enough seating here. So we had people standing and then turning away. I think you guys can come and sit in the front here. We have enough seating here. So with that, so thank you for asking this question. No, before that, let me also say on the light side that I'm not happy when you do a lot of planning, right? So planning is not good for air cargo. So please revisit that. Second thing, the mindset that air cargo is the most expensive is what we also heard from the facilitator now. We've been actually fighting to change that perception for many, many years. Some people have changed successfully. Dell possibly is one of them. So if you look at the total cost of transportation perspective, it is not expensive. You'll take the cost of, obviously it depends on the cost of the material for sure. But most of the electronic items that we carry day in and day out, and a lot of valuable shipments, including perishables. Perishables obviously have no option because they need to reach the destination very quickly. But then in general, when somebody carries out the total cost of transportation analysis internally, one would find that air cargo is actually not expensive. It is possibly one of the cheapest in terms of reliability, less damages, packaging cost, cost of inventory. Put all that together, it is actually not expensive at all. I think that mindset is something that the air freight industry, even ACFI, we've been fighting to change for. Some cases we have managed to change. And we have actually done this analysis for some companies. We have gone and presented to the ministry. We've also gone and presented to the user community of air cargo. And we achieved some success, but I think we need to do more. Because it brings in a lot of reliability, brings in security, brings that speed that people need. It has a lot of advantages. And all of that, if you don't have, it has cost. Take all that into account. It's actually a fantastic mode of transportation that one would use. And people use the Apple, Dell example that our colleagues picked here. They all use air cargo extensively. I think when it comes to the, from the air cargo point of view, we would like to play a big role. We would like to see more and more people using air cargo as the mode of transportation, at least for the middle mile. And globally, we see a growth of 5.5%. Capacity growth is much more, especially out of India. Most of the international flights see only a utilization of, on an average, obviously some sectors are busy, some sectors are light, some go zero. But on an average, we hit only some 40-50% of the utilization across the board. I'm not talking about Air India. So we have a lot more capacity that we can offer to the market. And we bring that value, as I said a few minutes ago. Look at the total cost of transportation. Look at the capacity that I need to offer. Look at the incentives that we can actually bring onto the table. It does bring that tremendous value onto the table that people should consider. So the mindset is a problem for people to use me from the multimodal point of view. I request people to just question yourself, challenge yourself, look at the advantages of security, reliability, speed, less cost of packaging, less cost of inventory. We are extremely competitive.
So thanks, Ramesh. I think I don't expect that in one forum, one question, we will have resolved it. But I think we should have set agenda. And that's good for everyone sitting here, that we create this option. Now, coming back to you, I think I will give two questions. You can answer both or you can take one of it. I will not ask 5 questions together. One is coming from chemical industry, do you see some specific, because air and ocean rules are different and sometimes custodian rules are very different. For example, if it transits through Rotterdam or Amsterdam, their rules are far stricter than at origin and than at destination. So we face that also once a while. So what are specific, I think, issues you have for your own chemicals, you can say, so that we can draw some roadmap, something concrete. Secondly, which one or two destinations you would like to consider for sea-air or air-sea evolved, so that there is some concrete plan ahead of us. And let us keep this round faster so that we have 20 minutes, we can give 10 minutes to the audience so we all of us can, and it's wonderful this panel has stuck to 3 minutes and lesser limit. So let's think ahead of our answer
we were
and
scared
start.
of your timer because we saw
start,
you were
start.
like, you're going to really time us very strictly, so we were scared of the timer. Okay, so coming back to the question as to the challenges, I think the sea shipments don't really pose a lot of challenge for us, but I think the challenge comes to us when it comes to air shipments. So, being a chemical company, the nature of a cargo is completely different when we are talking of, e-commerce kind of a company, because it can involve hazardous products, it can involve leaky products, and so the packaging becomes very important. So when it comes to air shipment, the damage part becomes very critical because, unless and until it is palletized, which obviously increases the cost when it is coming by air. So, and if you don't palletize, the MOQs become important. And when you are trying to get something by air, it is obviously always last minute and a certain opportunity cost. So then we want to minimize. So the customer says, ki 5 ton chahiye. So we are like, just take 1 ton by air and rest 4 ton can arrive. We just want to minimize the cost. So then MOQs come into play, the palletization, how secure your goods are vis-a-vis coming by sea. Because, when it comes by sea, we are more structured. So I think it's not up to the provider. So I would not really want to put it as a challenge which the provider needs to address. But we as a customer also need to address that we should be more aware of the risks involved when you're getting material by air. And together, as a team, what can be done? Because you have to understand from a chemical perspective, we are talking of bulky products. So for us, the products won't be coming in, bags. We are not shipping out dresses from the Zaras and the H&Ms of the world where you just put it in a carton and voila, We're talking of leaky, hazardous products, basically. So how can we minimize that? Because we have faced lately, actually, in few of the pharma products, we were wanting to get certain material because of shelf life issues. We were wanting to get it by air. And our supplier abroad clearly told us that, by air, I cannot ensure you the damage. The damage will not happen. You take by sea your regular LCL or FCL, but the small quantity that you're wanting to get through by air just to fulfill that gap before the sea material comes in, we can't ensure. So, what exactly is happening in air? Why can't we have the same level of security to our material? That we need to really understand, because honestly, I have never understood that what is the challenge that is faced by air. Why can't we have the same level of cohesiveness in our goods coming by air? So that is one challenge. And okay, I forgot the second question.
Thanks.
I think the second one not really relevant to us.
We will come back. I think it was...
Yeah, but I don't think so. I don't really right now. Nothing comes to my mind as for the route that you were talking of.
You can take it as an input. We will meet again.
Yes, maybe yes. I can think about it. Yeah.
Vijay, you want to answer same questions? Go ahead.
From a pharma perspective, India today is known as the pharmacy of the world. And economy-wise, the way India's GDP is growing, we are fifth, will be fourth, third in less than a decade's time. And when I look at sea-air combination, today I would say like we have the sea and the air solution, we are still far away in terms of the multimodal air-sea combination, because every shipper, you ask a shipper like me, I would love to do that, provided it ensures that there's no, I would say, issue on quality, because pharma products are all temperature sensitives, and we are able to make sure same quality is received by the customers as well. So if temperature escalation is one of the biggest challenge that we face, what we do currently is to run a trial, okay? So whenever capacity offhand, I would say post-COVID, there has been a lot of challenges with regards to airlines reducing their capacities, and hence capacity is not available for temperature-sensitive cargoes as well.
Have you engaged with the carriers and custodians about your sensitivity on temperature and how we can jointly resolve?
Yeah, I think in the last 5-6 years, there has been huge improvement, particularly in Delhi as well as in the Mumbai airport, and even in Hyderabad, we see a lot of improvement. We have temperature-sensitive, GDP-compliant warehouses which have been set up, which is a good step towards it.
I'm saying you take initiative and we will all logistics community support you on that.
Sure, sure. We anyways have a, I think in the Stats Media forum as well, I think we have a forum where I think Mr. Tushar, Jani and others, I think we have collaborated particularly for the farmer thing as well. This was almost six months back and prior to that as well. As of now, what we are working with the carrier is to make sure how we can move our cargoes faster. So our top 3 destinations that we export is US, contributes to almost 60%, Sydney, Australia, and it is Latin, which is either Chile or Brazil. We continuously look at how can we use multimodal as a solution to not only reduce lead time is the first aim that we want to do, make sure how we can bring down the lead time because we want to make sure catch up on the lost time that we have actually lost because of various supply chain issues. And that's where we are continuously working with the carriers as the shipping lines to actually make it possible.
Thanks. Organizers, I would request you that keep one or you can take one mic from your 2 mics ready for floor participation and somebody to carry. We will conclude with the 3, you keep it ready. No, floating mics for the audience. Yeah, 2 people, yes, that's right. Yeah, Aldrich, now what are 2 things you expect from custom broker, freight forwarder or logistics service providers for ensuring multimodality?
Okay, so for a multimodal system, what we need to do is stop working in silos. We have an air cargo community system mushrooming in multiple airports across India. We should move that air cargo community system to a supply chain or a logistics community system that enfolds multimodal into it. Because otherwise, data is not going to be available. It's going to be very, product-specific kind of data that's going to be available. In order to ensure planning is done, yes, can this communication from Mr. Vijay come down to Mr. Vivek in advance so that planning for infrastructure, planning to man those chairs for customs clearances can be done well in advance. So can we have a unified, harmonized system across multimodals? So these are a couple of things that I think could be addressed in order to bring change.
Thanks a lot. Vivek, can you just share ideas that for enabling this integrated offering, and let's not limit to air and ocean, it can be stretched. How to build strategic partnerships to enable this? Because all this will be possible only with cooperation of the entire chain and not just a single company or single mode doing something.
So I think, in the Indian context, and as a logistics service provider that we all are, I think one of the things which Aldrick did mention was about having a good community system. So that will integrate all modes of logistics. And in terms of building partnerships, I think we have a highly segmented approach when it comes to organizing ourselves. We have at least 10 to 15 different associations that want to pursue interest of that particular segment of logistics. And the multimodal has, much broader, perspective. But when there are custom brokers, there are freight forwarders, there are air operators, there are air service operators, there are airlines, and then there are custodians, there are CFS operators, there are port terminal operators. So everybody has a different, association that pursues their interests. But there are common issues. And if there is a platform created in which all different interests can collaborate, come together, I think that would be an way forward.
Thanks. Ramesh, now it's your choice to have closing remarks, or you can sum up what all we said.
I would like to respond to what he asked. I think, for the air cargo value chain, Air Cargo Forum India, which he mentioned a few minutes ago, that was the objective and intention with which we actually started, because we had similar issues in air cargo industry as well. We had different stakeholders representing that part of the segment, not really representing the entire industry. So we started ACFI with the intention to integrate the entire value chain and represent the industry's issues, lobby for them to ensure that we grow together. So that's the intention. So we're more than happy to work with anybody that you would like to nominate to see how we can solve the common industry issues, common supply chain issues. And even if it means policy changes, lobbying for the policy changes, we have a team, we have an organization behind us to work with you to do that. I think from the multimodal again, one thing that I wanted to mention is, like an airline, many airlines work like what we do. Multimodal is a reality, right? So in fact, if you go to a booth, you find that we have recently done a very large airport to-door shipment, which is air-play surface, right? So I know people are concerned when you have multi-modes involved, about the reliability, etc. We are also testing it. Many airlines do it successfully globally. So we also have developed that capability to air-play surface as airport to door product, which is working very well. But if you look at our network, we only fly to 50-odd destinations globally. But if you look at our network, if you try to make a booking, we actually offer you the capability to deliver in 200 destinations. Now, this is possible because we have first mile, last mile trucking operators working with us, right, to give that capability seamlessly fully integrated with the network, and fortunately integrated with IT systems as well, which Aldrick mentioned a few minutes ago. So I think it's a reality for all the companies. As you said in the beginning, I don't think any company can stand up and say, I'm only surface, I'm only air, I'm only ocean. I don't think anybody can actually work on that basis. So we are interlinked, fully integrated as a society. And I'm very happy that we as an airline, we are working on the same basis and give capability to deliver in 200 odd locations using multi-modes.
Thanks, Ramesh. I think a round of applause for panelists because they have left 9 minutes for question and answer. So please follow their example and keep your question or comment very, 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 very brief. So starting with Rama. 5 minutes? 10 more minutes. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yes.
More than a question, I have an information from Vivek and Aldrick, which is going to help Vivek and Priyanka, is that the AFS new policy which the government has brought in, where you can create a AFS in ICD. What you need to do is to extend that to CFS level. If you extend that with all the AFS modalities which the government requires, probably both of you will have the answer for what the question you have. Thanks.
So you are expecting answer or it's more of a suggestion? Suggestion. So I think we can give the mic there.
I would like to comment on that. It can actually revolutionize the CFS business. It can become an aggregating point for both modes of transport, sea as well as air, especially. And then they can be aggregated at the CFS/AFS, and from there it can move to the seaport or to the airport. I think it's an interesting possibility that's emerging.
Yeah, we were talking about, Ramesh very well pointed out that we are flying to 250 destinations, but we are covering with 200 RFS. So what I would request is that, maybe we can look into possibility of integration with the sea, forwarders, and then we can have, like we are doing presently for air, so same way like we have a connection which is available for sea freight also. So it's not limited to only trucking.
To whom are you addressing?
I am addressing it to Ramesh only, that we should look as an airline, not only on the trucking part, but we should also look for the partners for sea. So that, we can transfer it to the sea side. And of course, Aldrick, we should look at the possibility of creating an infrastructure also. Because, right now there is not possible that I can get a 20-feet container and I can put it on an airline. So you have to break it down. You have to create a separate space. So I think this is really required if we want to go ahead. And custom integration is already referred to. So these are the 3 points which I feel that we can do integration with seaside.
No, I agree. I think I absolutely agree with you. I think we see the opportunity, we see the potential, we see the framework which is already in place, just that we've not cracked, like other cities around us globally have cracked us. So I think only way is that we need to identify which city, which airport you want to work with, which port you want to work with. I think JNPT, Navi Mumbai, again going back to my previous job with Adani, I think that's a fantastic combination if you're looking at a port, and it's a very busy port as well. It has a lot of sea air cargo, potentially. I think taking those pairs, that pair, rather as a case study, we need to establish the process. we need to do it. That's some work that we have to do as an industry. I agree with that.
So can we move the mic? Yeah, Vipan. Please give the mic here to Vipan. And next person raise the hand. We can take one more.
Even though I'm just taking the cue now from the last one, my suggestion is instead of saying next decade, in next 2 years, we should gear up ourselves like air to sea, sea to air, or whatever it is. Only then I think we can identify the airport, whether it is Mumbai, Calcutta, or Chennai, where the problem is coming, and then we can look at the best practices followed by other airport. Then we can move faster. This is my main task actually, to see air and sea or sea to air is having a fast movement. It is just a comment or advice, nothing else. Thank you.
Thanks. I think it was more of an expectation we discussed. We have discussed with, I think it's an ongoing dialogue with us. Anyone else, please raise your hand or we can conclude the session. Has anybody raised the hand? Yeah, go ahead.
So, loved the panel discussion. I had a very quick question, and I think the reason I asked this question is because I loved the analogy with quick commerce that Priyanka brought up. So, wanted to understand what the landscape looks like in the future in terms of adopting better AI-first technologies for both visibility, but also stress testing supply chains as they become more complicated with multimodal and spot rates and so on. So what's the I guess the general sort of.
Whom do you want to answer? Who is your target? Vivek?
Yeah, I mean.
Sorry, if you can be a little louder with your question, if you can repeat.
There is echo, there is difficult, but as I could understand, you were asking about facilitation of multimodalism and finding better way to go forward. Is that right?
Exactly. So how would
AI is far away as of now, because let's first do the basics right. I think that gentleman talked about today we are not using much of air-sea as a combination. Let's start using that. But from a visibility perspective, there are platforms where you can still look at trends in terms of like shipping lines or connecting to the airlines as well, where you can clearly get alerts in terms of, okay, there are delays or the onward flights are getting delayed. Those alerts definitely can help you. Okay. AI in multimodal transport, we need to look at what is the AI as a word, but what use case you want to implement, I think that needs to be very clear. Otherwise, we will just do an implementation without any quantified benefits. Yeah.
I would just like to add one line here. AI can help you in route optimization because you may not be aware of all the sea routes, all the air routes, air-sea routes. So if you ask with a proper prompt to an AI engine, if you ask a question, you may get few alternatives which probably has not crossed your mind or your LSP has not shared that information with you. So, it can give you some, it can help you, suggest or optimize routes. I think that's probably AI, where AI can help.
Route optimization is what it can do. Route optimization.
I think let mic go to the, while they reply, let the mic go to the lady who had raised hand for the last question. While they add, I'm saying.
Okay, talking on the topic of AI, has AI found its way into our line of business? Yes, it has. It's still doing its infant steps, but at WFS, we use AI for our resource planning, for our predictive analysis that we do in terms of our long-term planning as well. Is it as accurate? Not yet. Because if you take the volatility in the world as of now, and if you take AI is looking at data-centric advice, data-centric suggestions. But if you see what's happened in the recent past, what was in 2024-25, the early parts of 25, is not necessarily reality today that I can go completely on the predictive analysis that were given. But has it found its way into our industry? Very much. Will it make more headway? Yes, it will.
You wanted to say something?
No, I think I think AI is an interesting field. Some of it I think Aldrick just answered. But from the airline cargo industry point of view, in the recent past, it has made progress. We have seen a lot of IT applications integrating AI capability to do multiple things. This customer service management, that has become easier. We have actually seen it solving the capacity management, capacity optimization, revenue optimization, yield management, which is pricing management, and very importantly, highlighting and helping us to manage the operations planning better. So it is kind of made inroads into a lot of these activities of our industry. Some independent tools, some tools integrated into the applications that we already use, but it may be a very different platform, very different landscape in about 5 years, right? I think none of the companies, not just in my industry, but even outside within the supply chain, can exist, can work without being able to use AI. That's what I see in about 5 years' time.
Great. I think AI seems to be the most favorite topic. All panelists spoke on that. I think we are preferring artificial intelligence to human intelligence. There was some lady, Vivek, you identified, had raised hand. So last comment and quick comment or say something? No. Good. So we are ending right on time. So the compeer, please take up. It's exactly 0 hour we completed. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think they deserve a bigger round of applause. What a compelling conversation. An excellent session with valuable insights into the future of integrated logistics and trade connectivity. Thank you to our expert panel and to moderator Mr. Shantanu Bhadkamkar for guiding the discussion so effectively. I now request Mr. Mohit Mivani to join us on stage to felicitate our remarkable industry leaders and present them with a token of appreciation, along with our remarkable moderator, Mr. Shantanu. We would first like to felicitate Mr. Ramesh Mamidala from Air India. Mr. Shantanu, I request you also to come in the front to felicitate with him. Thank you. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Vivek Kele from Teamglobal Logistics. Guys, we have to keep applauding for them. What wonderful panelists today. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Aldrick D'Souza from WFS Bengaluru. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Vijay Shetty from Alkem Laboratories. Next, we would like to felicitate the only lady panelist today with us, the absolutely gorgeous Miss Priyanka Shivan from Clariant IGL Speciality Chemicals. And now I request Mr. Mohit Mivani to felicitate our remarkable moderator for today's session, Mr. Shantanu Bhadkamkar, and present him with a token of appreciation. I request for a group photograph, please, everyone in the front of the stage. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mivani, and thank you to our wonderful panelists for that very insightful panel discussion.